Vin Diesel, the muscle man himself. Famously known for his Fast and Furious franchise, where he coined the slogan, "You don't turn your back on family, even when they do."
You don't turn your back on family, even when they do.
But there's more to this guy than family. In his franchise, he'd never trade his muscle car for anything. Heck, maybe not even for his family. But what you might not know is, away from the cameras, he's got a garage full of supercars. And no, it's not just muscle cars like Dom. Diesel has a unique taste in a variety of cars. With an astonishing net worth of over $225 million, Vin Diesel's multi-million-dollar collection of cars is simply astonishing. From his Chevrolet Chevelle to his Dodge Charger and down to his Lykan Hypersport, this guy would definitely make Dom envious. So buckle up as we take you on a ride through his garage. Ready, set, vroom. Number 1. 1969 Dodge Charger Daytona. Let's talk about a car that didn't just break the rules, it rewrote the book on performance. The Dodge Charger Daytona isn't your average street car. It's a NASCAR legend, racing its way to 6 victories between 1969 and 1970. That kind of dominance? It didn't sit well with the powers that be. NASCAR quickly banned the nose cones and massive rear wings that made the Daytona so unique, sealing the fate of this beast in racing. But you know what they say about things that are too good to be true. They become rare, and rare equals valuable. Only 503 of these incredible cars were ever made, and if you're lucky enough to own one, you've got a gem on your hands. And who better to own one than Vin Diesel, the man behind the wheel in the Fast and Furious franchise? The Daytona's sleek design, its menacing stance, and that engine growl practically scream Fast and Furious. Diesel's love for high-performance vehicles isn't just for the movies, it's a real-life obsession. With a car like this, he's not just living out his action-packed role, he's embodying it. Going by numbers, the auction record for a Daytona is a jaw-dropping $3.3 million at the Meckham auctions, and with only 503 ever built, you can bet prices are only going to climb. Imagine what an iconic car like this could be worth in the future. What if you had the chance to own one? Well, Diesel's got his hands on one, and if he ever decided to part with it, there's no doubt that buyers would line up around the block to pay top dollar for this gem. So why is the Daytona so special? It's not just about looks, it's legacy. It's the same kind of raw power that's pushed the Fast and Furious franchise into the hearts of fans worldwide. If you love cars that push the limits, the '69 Dodge Charger Daytona isn't just a car. It's an investment in speed and one hell of a ride. Before we slide into the next vehicle, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell, because we have more car collections you definitely don't want to miss. Number 2. 1970 Dodge Charger Tantrum. Sure, a classic Charger is already a car lover's dream, but this one, it's in a league of its own. Imagine a car that can pump 1,650 horsepower. That's right, 1,650 horses packed under the hood. If that doesn't make your heart skip a beat, I don't know what will. Now, this Charger isn't just an ordinary machine. It was a gift to Vin Diesel for his 52nd birthday, courtesy of the production team from Fast and Furious 9. And who wouldn't be emotional receiving such a masterpiece? Diesel's reaction said it all as he looked to the heavens and sent a heartfelt message to his late friend and co-star, Paul Walker. You see this, Pablo? We hope to make you proud, Pablo. Goosebumps, right?
You see this, Pablo? We hope to make you proud, Pablo. We hope to make you proud.
The Dodge Charger Tantrum does not run on your everyday engine. Speedcore Performance, the masterminds behind the build, swapped out the original engines for a twin-turbo 9-liter Mercury Marine racing engine. This isn't your average powerhouse. It's the kind of engine usually reserved for racing boats. And while it's a marvel of modern engineering, Speedcore kept things old school with a 6-speed manual transmission. Just imagine gripping that stick shift and unleashing all that power on the open road. Tire shredder? That's an understatement. And we haven't even gotten to the bodywork yet. The Charger's iconic lines are now wrapped in sleek carbon fiber, giving it an ultra-modern yet timeless look. Inside, the stock interior has been tossed aside in favor of luxurious leather seats and Alcantara trim. Speedcore left no stone unturned. Practically every part of this Charger is custom built. It's a classic car reimagined for the modern age, blending nostalgia with cutting-edge craftsmanship. The result? A jaw-dropping muscle car that's as much a piece of art as it is a road warrior. Number 3. 1970 Chevrolet Chevelle SS. If the tantrum had you revving your engines, wait until you hear about the 1970 Chevrolet Chevelle SS. This isn't just another classic car in Vin Diesel's collection, it's his personal favorite. And who could blame him? The Chevelle SS is the epitome of American muscle, and its legacy is cemented in the Fast and Furious franchise. Remember the closing scene from the original 2001 film? That's the moment this beauty stole the show. Under the hood, the Chevelle SS packs a massive 7.5-liter V8 engine. Back in its heyday, this beast churned out an impressive 450 horsepower and 500 pound-feet of torque. Numbers that still command respect today. With a 0 to 60 time of just over 5 seconds, the Chevelle SS wasn't just fast for its time, it was a world-class performer. Imagine the thrill of stomping on the gas and feeling that raw power surge through you. It's no wonder Diesel fell head over heels for this car. And here's a fun fact for you. Vin Diesel once jokingly admitted to stealing his Chevelle SS from the set of one of the films. Hey, if you're the star of a multi-billion-dollar franchise, shouldn't you get a few perks? That said, we wouldn't be surprised if he's held on to this beauty for dear life. Speaking of legacies, the Chevelle SS has become a hot commodity among collectors. In 2020, a different Chevelle SS used in Fast and Furious 4 went up for auction in Australia and fetched over 100,000 Australian dollars. Can you imagine what Vin Diesel's personal Chevelle SS would go for? It'd be the crown jewel of any collection. But let's be real, Diesel parting with his favorite car? That's about as likely as Paul Walker's name fading from the hearts of Fast and Furious fans. Definitely not happening. Number 4. 1963 Chevrolet Corvette Stingray Grand Sport. When it comes to American muscle, few cars carry the cachet of the '63 Corvette Stingray Grand Sport. This isn't just any Corvette, folks. It's the one that started it all. Built for racing, it was equipped with features that made it stand out from the crowd. A front anti-roll bar, vacuum brake booster, and heavy-duty shocks and springs that were nearly twice as stiff as those on the standard model. Talk about a car that was born to race. And here's where it gets even better. Only 119 of these bad boys were ever made. That's right, this car is a bona fide collector's item. It's no wonder Diesel, with his love for speed and style, has one of these in his collection. Just picture a sleek, low-slung Stingray, with its engine roaring to life as it devours the open road. This car isn't just a ride, it's an experience. Owning one is like holding a piece of automotive history in your hands. If you've ever dreamt of a car that embodies the thrill of the race and the allure of exclusivity, the 1963 Stingray Grand Sport is it. Number 5. 1970 Dodge Charger RT. Now this is a car with some serious swagger. Fans of the Fast and Furious movies will surely know this beast as Dom Toretto's signature ride. It's powerful, iconic, and downright intimidating. Justin Lin, who directed several films in the franchise, even gifted one to Diesel. How's that for a perk of the job? The Charger RT's specs are enough to make any car enthusiast weak in the knees. Its 440 Magnum V8 engine and high-performance road track package make it a force to be reckoned with. But wait, there's more. Diesel's personal Charger has undergone some jaw-dropping modifications. We're talking about an 8-71 positive displacement compressor, a fast electronic injection system with 3 injectors per cylinder, and 8 nitrous oxide injectors. The result? Over 900 horsepower, with an extra 250 from nitrous oxide at 8,500 RPM. That's a staggering 1,200 horsepower in total. Can you even imagine the roar of that engine? Of course, such power demands serious upgrades to handle it. Reinforced chassis, upgraded suspension, high-performance brakes, and a beefed-up rear axle all ensure that this car can handle its output. It's not just a car, it's a rocket on wheels. No wonder Diesel shelled out around $1 million for it. But let's be honest, can you really put a price on something this extraordinary? Number 6. 1970 Plymouth Roadrunner. You've probably seen it roaring through the Fast and Furious franchise, usually with Vin Diesel's Dominic Toretto behind the wheel. Well, guess what? Vin's love for this beast doesn't stop when the cameras do. He's got a 70 Plymouth Roadrunner sitting in his personal garage. Can you blame him? This car is all about pure performance and no-nonsense design, a true muscle car for the ages. The 1970 Roadrunner didn't mess with success. It carried forward much of the same DNA from its 1968 debut, a big, bad V8 engine that packed 335 horsepower. Simple, powerful, and affordable, it was a working man's muscle car. Back then, you didn't need all the bells and whistles. You needed speed and guts, and the Roadrunner delivered in spades. The Roadrunner was one of the last great muscle cars introduced before the early 70s oil crisis forced the market to pivot to smaller, more fuel-efficient vehicles. Back in 1970, Plymouth sold a staggering 41,484 Roadrunners. By the time the second generation rolled out in 1971, that number dropped dramatically to just 14,218. Those high sales mean one thing today: there are still plenty of these beauties on the road, which is fortunate considering the franchise's propensity for demolishing a few during filming. That's right, several Roadrunners met their cinematic demise during Fast and Furious productions. Talk about dedication to authenticity. But hey, when you've got a car this iconic, it's bound to leave an impression, even if it's in a crumpled heap. Number 7. 2011 Dodge Charger SRT-8. Now, if there's one thing the Fast and Furious films have taught us, it's that the most intimidating car on screen is whatever Dominic Toretto is driving at the moment. More often than not, that means some version of a Dodge Charger. In Fast and Furious 6, Toretto starts with an old-school Charger, but wraps up his heist shenanigans in something a little more modern, the 2011 Dodge Charger SRT-8. Let's talk about what makes this beast tick. This isn't just any Charger. This is the SRT-8, a modern muscle marvel with a 470 horsepower, 6.4-liter Hemi V8 engine. That's not just muscle, it's pure intimidation on wheels. Dodge has been a longtime partner of the Fast and Furious franchise, and for this particular film, they shipped 11 brand new 2012 Charger SRT-8s to the production team. These cars didn't need much tinkering to make them screen ready. They already had the guts for action. All the team needed to do was add a bit of movie magic. One of the most memorable moments in Fast and Furious 6 involves this Charger playing a pivotal role in the cinematic scene. Remember the jaw-dropping sequence when they're trying to stop a Russian Antonov cargo plane from taking off? The SRT-8, equipped with a worn winch mounted to a tubular steel bracket in the trunk, helps bring the massive plane down. Is it realistic? Probably not. But by that point in the movie, are you really questioning plausibility? Of course not. Number 8. 1966 Pontiac Bonneville. Let's take it back to a different era of American car making, when bigger was better and style reigned supreme. The 1966 Pontiac Bonneville was a true icon, one of the longest-lived names in the American automotive scene. Production spanned nearly 5 decades, from 1958 all the way to 2005. And yes, Vin Diesel owns one of these beauties, specifically a 4th-generation model. You know the one with the bold, Coke bottle-inspired design. Doesn't get much more American than that. The 66 Bonneville was a sight to behold, clocking in at just over 19 feet long and weighing a hefty 2.5 tons. This car isn't about agility or speed. It's about presence. When you see one of these rolling down the street, you can't help but stop and stare. It's a land yacht in the best possible way, built to turn heads and command attention. Under the hood, this 4th-generation Bonneville was no slouch. It boasted a 7-liter V8 engine that cranked out 390 horsepower. That's some serious muscle for a car that's more about cruising than cornering. While it may not have been built for the track, the Bonneville had power to spare. It was a true grand tourer, designed for the open road and long highway stretches. Imagine rolling up to a diner in one of these. Talk about making an entrance. Vin Diesel's Bonneville remains somewhat of a mystery. Details about his specific car are scarce, but we know this: owning a Bonneville is a statement. For fans of classic cars, the Bonneville is a dream machine. Number 9. 1994 Toyota Supra. This beast of a machine practically became synonymous with street racing, especially after it tore up the screen in The Fast and the Furious. And let me tell you, This isn't just any Japanese car, it's an absolute icon. If you remember the good old days of the early 2000s, you probably caught glimpses of this beauty tearing through the streets. The MK4 Toyota Supra is a model that has only gotten hotter with age. Its value? Let's just say it's climbing higher than most of us could ever have imagined. A mint condition Supra can fetch upwards of 265 grand at an auction. Can you believe that? But that's not even the highest price ever paid. No, the record is actually held by one of the sports cars used by none other than Paul Walker in the original Fast and Furious movie. It sold for a jaw-dropping 550 grand at a Barrett-Jackson auction in Las Vegas back in 2021. And here's the kicker. Vin Diesel is also a fan of this legendary machine. Word on the street is that Diesel's got a Supra of his own parked in his garage. Now, whether it's a car from the movie or just one he picked up because he's a fan, that's up for debate. But wouldn't it be wild if it were one of the stunt cars used on set? Imagine the bidding frenzy if you ever decided to put that beauty up for auction. The Supra's not just about speed either. Sure, it can hit 60 miles per hour in the blink of an eye, but it's the overall vibe of the car that has everyone in a frenzy. With a strong following and rising demand, this car has cemented itself as one of the most collectible and sought-after vehicles out there. So if you're looking to grab one of these, get ready to break open that piggy bank because the Supra's value keeps soaring. Number 10. Mazda RX-7. Now, if you thought the Supra was a head-turner, the Mazda RX-7 takes a different approach to stealing the spotlight. This car doesn't rely on flashy looks alone. It's got a performance edge that sets it apart. If you've ever heard the unique hum of a rotary engine, you know exactly what I mean. The Mazda RX-7 became the car to have for tuners and street racers alike, and for good reason. The FD generation RX-7, which debuted in 1993, was all about that rotary engine magic. Not only did it produce a sound that you just couldn't replicate, but it was turbocharged with zero turbo lag. Something that made every drive a thrill. If you had a chance to get behind the wheel, you were in for a ride that was as smooth as it was exciting. When the car dropped in the US, it didn't just make waves, it caused a full-on tidal wave. It won Motor Trend's Import Car of the Year in '93 and had buyers rushing to dealerships. However, things weren't exactly smooth sailing after the initial buzz. The RX-7 came with a high price tag, and when the economy took a downturn in the mid-90s, it left many buyers hesitant. The car was eventually pulled from the American market in '95, although it continued to be sold in Japan until '02. But despite its limited run in the States, the RX-7's legacy has never faltered. Even today, the car still has a dedicated following. And let's not forget Vin Diesel's own RX-7, which reportedly is a rare 2x2 hatchback model. If you're a car enthusiast, you can probably appreciate why this model stands out. It's not just about speed, it's about the driving experience. The RX-7 is proof that sometimes the joy of a car isn't just about the straight line speed, it's about how it makes you feel every time you turn the key. Lastly, we're going to change gears a little bit. While Vin Diesel is all about muscle cars and Japanese legends, he's also got a soft spot for something a little more refined. That's number 11, the BMW M5 E60, a German masterpiece that combines the raw power of a performance car with the luxury and comfort of a family sedan. Now, I know what you're thinking, a family sedan in Vin Diesel's garage? But hear me out, this car is anything but your average family hauler. The M5 E60 was a powerhouse, boasting a naturally aspirated V10 engine that churned out 500 horsepower. Yeah, you heard me right, 500. This engine could send the M5 from 0 to 62 miles per hour in just 4.7 seconds, which was mind-blowing for a 4-door car back in the day. You could haul the family around while also knowing that you could leave anyone in the dust when the need arose. But of course, no car is perfect. The M5 E60 has a bit of a reputation for being finicky. Some owners complained about reliability issues, particularly with the rod bearing failure that often popped up in the V10 engine. Sure, that might have turned some potential buyers off, but the M5 E60 was still an incredible choice for anyone who wanted a true performance sedan. After all, not every family car can rip through the streets with the speed and power of a full-blown sports car. And let's not forget the practicality of it all. With ample room for 5 adults and a decent-sized trunk, This was a car that could take you on a road trip or just be your everyday ride while still having the heart of a beast. But yes, if you owned one, you had to be prepared for the occasional expensive repair bill. Still, for those who were willing to put up with the quirks, the M5 E50 was a true driver's car. Vin Diesel's car collection is a reflection of his persona: bold, diverse, and iconic. Whether it's a classic muscle car or a sleek supercar, every vehicle tells a story of power and passion. It's clear that both on and off the screen, Vin Diesel lives life in the fast lane, embodying the spirit of speed, strength, and individuality. And with that, we've reached the end of today's video. If you enjoyed it and want to see more luxury car collections, subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell.